home is not a place where you were given birth at. Home is a place where you've got peace, where you've got everything established. So for me, I feel like South Africa is home for me. Why? Because I have relationship established here. I have my economical side established here. Because if I go back to Zimbabwe, I won't feel at home. Why? Because I will have to think about what am I going to eat tonight because I can't make ends meet there. So around here, I know that I got my transport. I got this. I go out, I come back with something. So for me, that's home. I was working and I did my savings. And the reason why I left my job is because I didn't want to face this whole backlash that is coming from the communities in terms of employment. Being a foreigner, man, it's like you are the last option. You understand what I'm saying? It's like you are the last option. That's why most of the people, they try to change their identity to be South Africans. So if Zimbabwe can actually establish industries that can accommodate everything which they teach in universities, we wouldn't have been here. You know, I'm one person who would say if ever, let's say the economy of Zimbabwe was good, I wouldn't have been in South Africa.
Africans on Africa, let's go.
I want to start here. Who's Romeo?
Simple explanation, man. Firstly, I'd love to introduce myself, you know, especially with where I come from, since we are like, as well. Romeo is a Zimbabwean gent, a young man from Zimbabwe, who moved to SA 10 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's been a decade now since I've been in South Africa. And Romeo is not married yet. Yes, he's not married yet. And I'm self-employed. So yeah.
Is it usual for you to identify yourself as Zimbabwe?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are there like moments where you gotta hide it or something?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I'm proud of. Because there are some of the situations that compels me to hide my identity, but I find myself exposing my identity.
Situations like what?
Situations like since I'm on Uber.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get clients who complain about Zimbabweans.
Oh.
And most of the people, like, they don't look at me as a Zimbabwean. They're like, okay, this guy might be Zulu or South African. You understand? So when we are traveling, they might start talking about Zimbabweans. You know, Zimbabweans are putting things on the road that is smashing tires. Those people should go back home, and etc. and etc. Until I review my name that, but not all Zimbabweans are bad, because I'm Zimbabwean and I'm earning a decent living.
Yo, so you're in a car.
Yeah.
This is, okay, I guess we're going 100. So you're in a car, you're driving a passenger, and they're saying stuff about Zimbabweans. And you're listening the whole time. And then what happens?
Mostly like I would be engaging with them actually. I'll be engaging with them because they'll be telling me about bad experience which they had with Zimbabweans, of which that's valid, right? Because one Zimbabwean cannot define the whole Zimbabwe. I think we as Africans, if we have that kind of mentality, we would say one person cannot define the whole country. Same applies in South Africa. We do have like good citizens. We have bad citizens. So we can't say if Oscar Pistorius is a murderer, then we say South Africans are murderers. No, we don't have to be like that. So if you see a Zimbabwean doing a bad thing, and we are not standing for our brothers, we understand that Zimbabwe is a country where you've got criminals. You've got all those people that these people are talking about. Yes, they do exist. But one thing that we are contradicting or I'm against is don't paint us black, because it's not all people that are bad.
I visited once, almost got arrested in Harare. It's during Mugabe's reign.
Okay.
And I didn't know you couldn't take photos of like public,
the state house and stuff.
And police stations and stuff. Oh my god, those guys don't mess around.
You can't do that. Even in Zimbabwe, like you're not allowed to pass by the president's house after 6.
Oh wow.
You're not. I'm sorry. You're not allowed to do that. If you are seen around 6 o'clock there, they'll be like, what are you doing here? There's a time frame where you are not supposed to pass by the president's street.
Oh, you should tell the Americans they just shot their president. Yesterday.
Who shot their president?
They shot Trump.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, he survived. It hit him in the ear.
That's new.
Anyway, none of our business.
Yeah.
So you said 10 years ago you moved here, right?
Yep.
What were the circumstances? What got you to move to South?
Actually, for me, like, it wasn't something that was planned. For me, like it was, actually I came to South Africa as a holiday.
Oh, okay.
You understand what I'm saying? Like after finishing my matric, and then my mom was like, okay, cool. Because my brothers were the first people who moved here.
Yeah.
So there's thing I think around here, B2 here. So around B2, Social Moving.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's around this place, but on the RDP side. So my mom was like, since you finished, you're on the holiday, let's go and visit your brothers in South Africa. And then when we came here, my brother was renting a 2-bedroom house and stuff. So there was enough space for us to actually stay. So when the time came for me to go back home, my mom got sick, like she had kind of a chronic sickness. So it got so serious that like her body started to deteriorate by day by day by day by day. So if you know, the medical condition in Zimbabwe is not as better as South Africa. So it wouldn't make sense to take her back to Zimbabwe while she was sick.
For treatment, yeah.
For treatment. Yeah. So we're like, okay, cool. Since mom is sick, let's try to get a treatment this side because it's much better and accessible, right? So she wasn't getting better by day. She was actually getting worse by day.
Oh, no.
So it went to a point whereby I get tired of staying at home because my brothers were working and I was staying at home with mom. So I was like, I'm starting to get tired now. Can you please find me a position to fill in at your workplace so that I can start making my own money? Because now I had to ask my brother for airtime, ask him to buy me toiletries and stuff. So I was like, I'm tired of sitting. Can you please like at least speak with your boss that I can come through? So my brother spoke with his boss and then that's how I started working. So ever since then,
you've been here.
I've been here. Yeah. It just went by like until to date.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
So in that whole time, is there a point where you're thinking, I want to go back home?
I did want to go back home for one reason, to further my studies. That's the reason why I wanted to go back home. But at the same time, it didn't make sense because the person was supposed to pay school fees for me. Because in Zimbabwe, we don't have the NSFAS thing.
Yeah.
You understand? Your parents can actually sell cows for you to go to varsity.
Yeah.
You understand? So we don't have the privilege that most of the South Africans have. So for me, it didn't make sense for me to keep on pursuing education because mom is here, she's sick, and my brother is trying to leave, and there's not enough money for me to proceed. So I was like, okay, cool. Let me try to work and take myself further to school. And there was a point that I did that, but I guess finances as well. Yeah, they took me back. Because I think in 2020, I enrolled at UNISA. I was studying law. I was studying LOB at UNISA. And the same 2020 that I enrolled is the same 2020 that my mom passed away.
Oh.
So it was like a lot of tragedy and stuff. So I just like had to drop out. And then, since today,
So, a lot of, I'm sure you do like all of the stuff on TikTok, right? And you're quite funny.
Yep.
But you see the comments as well, right? Like a lot of like regular South Africans, your neighbors here, even, will hear your story and go, okay, sharp, all of that happened. Now, why are you not going home? Why are you still here? Yeah, I'm sure you've seen stuff like that, right? Like, what's your response to something like that?
My response to something like that is, since I told you that there's not even a single day that I worked in Zimbabwe, I started working in South Africa. That means I established my life in South Africa, economically, even socially. You understand? I believe if I can go back to Zimbabwe right now, there are some of the people who don't even know me from the area that I grew up in because 10 years is a long time. You understand? And now my social life and my economical life in South Africa, it's more balanced.
Yeah.
And I was speaking with Mr. Ivan yesterday and I was saying that home is not a place where you were given birth at. Home is a place where you've got peace, where you've got everything established. So for me, I feel like South Africa is home for me. Why? Because I have relationship established here. I have my economical side established here. Because if I go back to Zimbabwe, I won't feel at home. Why? Because I will have to think about what am I going to eat tonight because I can't make ends meet there. So here, around here, I know that I got my transport. I got this. I go out, I come back with something. So for me, that's home.
So there's quite a reality that you're thinking about here. It's like, I'm thinking about there's a lot of South Africans who leave, right, and go to like New Zealand, Australia, or whatever. At one point, it used to be like a lot of white South Africans, but now it's pretty much, if you're middle class, you're just aiming to leave, or maybe like teach in Shanghai and or move somewhere with terrible weather and crappy food, which is sad. And I'm thinking of it in that context, like people will be away and still go, I miss home. I want to be home. Do you ever feel that way?
Me, I don't feel that way. I wouldn't lie. Maybe what could have made my home in Zimbabwe different is maybe if my mom was still alive. That's when I could be like, you know what? South Africa is not my home because my mom is not here. But just because my mom is absent in both countries, I mean, like, I have to look at my priorities first and see, okay, cool. Since my mom is not there anymore, I mean, where am I actually managing to live?
Yeah.
You understand? So that's the priority that I'm focusing on now. But if even my mom was alive, I would definitely call Zimbabwe home and I would definitely visit there more often. You understand? But now, yes, there are still relatives who are there, but I mean, you understand?
So, like,
most of them, they do come this side.
Oh, they come this side.
They visit, yeah.
So, is it, if you think about your circle, your social circle, I'm sure you've got like Zimbabweans in your social circle, or not?
I do.
Yeah?
I do, yeah.
Is it, if you think about life and what the future looks like, like most of you guys, Zimbos in your circle, right? What's the end goal in 10 years' time? Where would you like to be living?
To be living.
And not just living, man, like actually making a living, being like you were saying, like economically, socially, you know, like ideally.
For me, man, like, I can't speak for others. Even though when I speak for the people who are in my circle, because most of the people in my circle, they are business people. They are running businesses, you understand? So their focus is like developing their business, growing their business, growing their business.
Well, you're similar, right?
Yeah, growing their business until they reach a certain level of financial stability. You understand? So I think the people in my circle, we're actually more on chasing financial stability, regardless of where you are. Because remember, it's not about where you are. It goes back to your mentality as a person. You can move to America and still be broke. Because being rich starts with a mentality. So if you fail in South Africa, possibilities of you failing somewhere else are high because it all starts where? In the mind. So in 10 years' time, I wouldn't think of a place to be, but I would think of a status where I would want to be.
And what does that look like? What do you want to be in that period of time?
Definitely, like having some established businesses.
What kind of businesses?
That are giving in like good money.
Yeah.
You understand? Like good,
that's
good,
a kind
good
of
money.
business.
good money. But the thing is, I don't see myself as a worker.
Yeah. That's
why if I can get a job, I use that to fund my dream.
Yeah.
You understand?
But what kind of business are you into?
Right now, I'm doing catering, and I'm doing catering, and I'm also into Uber.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the two businesses that I am into at the moment that are functioning. I have some that failed because I once established as well a mobile car wash business. Yeah, where I had to put money to buy a van, generators, because like I didn't want to outsource resources from clients. So I had to make sure that my van have got everything from generator, water, and all those kind of things. So that failed, but I got a lot of business that failed. A lot registered as well. Yeah.
So you're quite entrepreneurial.
Yeah. And I love to do things like in a legit way.
When I ask you a question that might be a little bit touchy, who's more entrepreneurial? Like Zimbabwean guys, the guys and girls, South African guys and girls. In your experience, obviously it's limited. It's just
in my experience, man.
I was just telling you I'm lazy. Yeah, keep that in mind.
In my experience, like I would say, I wouldn't mention a country of people who are entrepreneur or not. But my mentor, the guy that I look up to, is a South African man.
Who's it?
And he's killing it. He's killing it.
Is someone I might know?
Maybe or maybe not. His name is called Mr. Mbai.
Oh, it's not Vusi Tembagwa.
No, he's not that kind of social media person. He's the underdog, but he's killing it in business. He's into medical. Yeah, he's into medical, so he's killing it. So he's the guy that I look up to because his story is very inspiring. So
I want to move you to a different subject matter. How do you end up being the guy who's making these videos on TikTok? How do you get to that point?
I wasn't a social media person, Like I wasn't really a social media person. The thing is, it goes back to the past relationship that I was in. That's how we started TikTok. Because my TikTok, the first TikTok account that I created, it was just about my business that I was pushing, the mobile car wash business. And then I got into this relationship, and then it got serious, and then there was a point that we just felt like, okay, cool, let's let's post our memories, when we go out in restaurants, horse ridings, because I'm a person who is adventurous when I'm in a relationship. I love doing all those things. So just like, okay, cool, let's all post this thing on TikTok. And the first few videos that we posted, they didn't go viral. But then I started loving everything about TikTok, right? And then I started to come up with these captions like Zimbabwe Zulu kind of thing, a relationship and stuff. So it drew quite a lot of numbers. With how a Zulu girl is dating a Zimbabwean guy, you understand? So it drew quite a lot of numbers. And I think that video reached almost 2.5 million views. Oh, wow. And then we just started to go with the flow, creating until the relationship ended. I was like, what am I going to do with these 98,000 followers? Let me talk about something. Yeah. So that's how when I started to talk about Zimbabwe and all those kind of things. Yeah.
Why do you do it still though? Like the whole Zimbabwean focus.
The whole Zimbabwean thing, the reason why I do it is because firstly, on the Zimbabwean side, I want Zimbabweans to understand that being a foreigner, you don't have to feel inferior. You are still superior as a foreigner. You understand? Secondly, I want them to regain their confidence because most of the Zimbabweans now, they are hiding their status because of what is being said. That means they have lost their status, or let me say they have lost their identity. They're actually hiding their identity. So at least if there's somebody who can go and say, Zimbabweans, you're still beautiful, you are hard workers, you give them words of affirmations, they'll be like, at least there's somebody who is recognizing what we are doing.
You said you feel like Zimbabweans have lost a confidence,
a sense of identity,
because of what is being said
around them.
What is being said?
What is being said about them is, even you can go on social media, mention Zimbabwe, even on my comment section, there's a lot of hatred.
It's wild.
A lot of hatred that is there. But for me, I don't take it to heart because I understand that, and I don't blame those people because it's their experience, right? It's their experience, so I don't have to blame those people. But at the same time, one thing that I've seen about, I don't know if I can say South African people, but one thing that I see about that is they impose that on the whole country. So for me, I'm just here to say, you know what, guys? It's not all of us who are robbers. It's not all of us who are killers. Yes, I understand that a Zimbabwean came in your house and robbed you, but that wasn't me. I've never got a gun in my life. I've never killed anybody in my life. I'm just a person who's striving to establish his own businesses. And that's what I'm trying to do.
Are you getting where the hatred is coming from? Is that what you're saying? Am I following you?
I do get the hatred where it's coming from because it's valid. Because my brother, there's nobody who's going to say, I saw you in social while you were not in social. You understand? So I understand where the hatred is coming from. It's coming from the Zimbabwean brothers who are criminals, who are doing bad things in South Africa. And most of the people who have experienced this, they now hate Zimbabweans in general. So me, I'm trying to go on the internet and say, to shed a light. Uguti, guys, there's also a reason why you should consider loving us, since you have reasons to hate us. And the reasons why you should consider loving us is the fact that there are still good Zimbabweans who are here to build the economy. Let's look on the brighter side of what other Zimbabweans people have done in South Africa. And maybe you can have a reason to love us.
What was the thing you said? You said we're not leaving because South African women love us.
Oh, that one.
Tell me about that
one. Well, the one that I said with South African women love us. Yeah, but for real though, for real, like
is that a thing?
Like for real, like
I don't know that's a thing.
Okay. You know, it goes back to
maybe South African women love Romeo. I don't know. It's a whole thing.
Excuse me. So for me, I feel like South African women, they love Zimbabwean men.
Really?
They do, right? Yeah. And where I concluded we are not living because South African women love us is because it goes back to the definition of home that I said. Majority of Zimbabwean people, they are in a relationship with South African women. And obviously, if you're in a relationship, at some point, you're going to procreate. That means there's a baby that is here of a Zimbabwean man and a South African woman, right? So for me as a responsible father, as I am, I wouldn't say yes to leave if you say go leave. Why? Because I'm thinking of my baby here. But if I leave and go back to Zimbabwe, where I struggle to take care of my own self, how will I be able to send money from Zimbabwe to my baby? That means my baby is going to grow fatherless. Or maybe the mother is going to say your father is a deadbeat. So allow me to be in a space where I can provide for my family. So it's not only a matter of us not living because of South African women. It's because of what we had with South African women. And also, majority of the people, they speak bad things about South African women. And when I'm not such a negative person. In a negative situation, I always want to find something positive.
Yeah.
The internet blows up and say South African women loves money. And I wonder which country they've got women who don't love money. Because even in Zimbabwe, they do love money. So you can't paint all South African women black with these ones, they are gold diggers, they love money and stuff. No, that's not how you do it. Because even in Malawi, there are women who love money.
I know, I think people in general love
money. People in general, they love money. So you can't say South African women love money and stuff. And I don't feel like that's really necessary to say about people.
That's fantastic. I wish I could be you, man. I hate everybody. I'm kidding. So you've been doing this thing. Does it take a toll on you? Like when you get all these comments about leave the country and stuff? Like
no, there's nothing like that because I have the right or the power to protect my energy.
Yeah.
And the power that I have is to control what I say, where I can be, how to respond when you provoke me. That's the power that I possess.
But man, when you get in that Uber, you're working, and someone is saying all this shit about Zimbabwean people, when you hear neighbors, when you hear on the TV, there was this lady, she used to be MEC of health.
Oh, the Limpopo one.
Yeah. Remember that whole thing? She was trying to saying all this stuff against the woman who was a patient, Zimbabwean.
The Zimbabwean patient,
Yeah, like you collapsing my health department, whatever she was saying. When you see all of that stuff, I mean, it's a lot. It's and like you said, hatred and stereotypes. At some, man, I'm sure you're a great guy and you got a handle on your emotions, but at some point you must hit a nerve.
Yeah, it's just a matter of. There's a video that I once made and say, we as Zimbabweans, we are not ashamed of our nationality. We are ashamed of our government. You understand what I'm saying? Because if you can go to all those like medical issues that most of the Zimbabweans are facing here, we as individuals, we can't do nothing. It all goes back to our government system. How is it treating the whole issue? You understand? So at some point you do have a little bit of regret, but you can't blame the South African ones because remember, we are in a foreign land. And when you're in a foreign land, it's more like you come to my house and I give you a place to stay. I have a right to tell you not to do 1, 2, 3 because you are in my house. So that's what South Africans are doing. And so when you're in South Africa, they will definitely tell you, don't do 1, don't do 3, don't do 4. You understand what I'm saying? And if you are a visitor who came in my house, and now you're bringing other people who are related to you in my house, there's a point where I'm going to tell you that, no, don't bring a lot of people in my house.
It's too much.
You understand? Yeah. You are taking the space of my children. So you have a right to do that.
How many times have you heard the don't do? Or at least what are some examples of the don't do's?
It's a matter of like securing jobs.
What do you mean?
Like foreign nationals being chased out on workplaces. I once worked in Tokoza there. They are people. Yeah. They are dominating that side. And those people, they could have some time whereby they could work in the industries, taking out foreigners. If the foreigners are not going out, they would close the gates of their place. So for me, that's how I came to be independent. I was working and I did my savings. And the reason why I left my job is because I didn't want to face this whole backlash that is coming from the communities in terms of employment. That's why I was like, you know what? The money that I've saved, let me buy a car that I know that it can qualify on this platform. And then I start to do my own thing. From there, I can grow. Because if I'm in my Uber, you can't come and tell me that it's not a company. You would see, you get my point.
Yeah.
I've got that independence and that power to be like, okay, cool. I'm making my own money in a legit way. So I'm good. I don't have stress to go to, what if today they're going to come and tell us to go? What am I going to do?
You were saying Namatosa. Togoza. Is it like particularly on my coast?
Dominate.
Really?
Yeah. Togoza is dominated by Xhosa people.
Oh, okay.
And Sotho from Lesotho, but majority of the South African nationals there is Xhosa people.
Okay.
Yeah, Xhosa people.
What language do you speak?
I speak Shona.
Are you Shona?
Yeah, I'm Shona.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a whole Ndebele Shona thing going on in Zambia.
Yeah, the whole tribal thing. Yeah, it's real.
What's that all about, man?
I don't even know, man, because I don't have much information in that regard. But I feel like it goes back to politics.
How so?
I don't know, man. Like I don't know if it's factual. I don't know if it's on the assumption side, because I feel like back then when Zimbabwe got its independence, there was a possibility that the first black president of Zimbabwe was supposed to be Joshua Nkomo, who is in Ndebele. And it happened that Joshua Nkomo, he didn't die a natural death. I think he was assassinated. Oh. And the assumption is he was assassinated by the Shona, the Shona people.
Nkomo.
Is it Nkomo? Yeah, I think it's Nkomo. Is it Nkomo? Yeah, I think it's Nkomo. And the Ndebele guy.
I had a thing with this girl in university. She was in Nkomo.
Yeah.
From Zim.
Yep.
From Bulawayo.
Yep.
She's so pretty.
Yeah.
But she came from a political family.
Yeah. So Joshua Nkomo, I think he was supposed to be the first black president of Zimbabwe, and then he died. I think I don't know if it's factual. I don't know if it's factual.
But what you know is potentially it was Shona people who.
Yeah, they say with maybe they had a hand in him being assassinated.
Okay.
So I think the hatred of the Shona and the Ndebele started there.
Okay.
Because it was the Ndebele person who was supposed to be the first reigning president of Zimbabwe. And then it became Mugabe.
Does that stuff matter when you're in a foreign country?
Man, this hatred is what's spotted. It's what's spotted. The hatred is what's spotted. A person can hate you just because this one hates you.
But I mean, the Ndebele Shona thing, are you seeing it when you're in South Africa?
Yeah, because most of the Ndebele people, they don't want to be identified as Zimbabweans. They don't want to be identified as Zulus.
Wait, just repeat that?
Most of the Ndebele people in South Africa, they don't want to be identified as Zimbabweans. They want to be identified as Zulus.
That is so interesting.
You understand what I'm saying?
So it goes back to the identity thing you were saying.
Yeah.
What's going on there? Why?
Exactly. But so if I want to engage with you, then you start like tripping. You understand?
Why would they do that? What's the motivation behind that? It's
just a matter of if you're a South African, man, there is freedom.
Yeah.
If you're a South African, like, you are superior because you're in your country, right? Yeah, so there's a level of superiority that you possess more than a foreigner. So if when I go around saying I'm a South African, it means I possess that level of superiority. You understand?
And is that what's happening with Ndebele?
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
It goes back to self-confidence. Over to when do you know yourself now?
Yeah.
You get my point?
Oh, wow. So you imported the whole hatred thing from Zim.
Yeah, it's hot spotted that thing. That thing is hot spotted.
Yeah.
It's hot spotted.
Oh, wow.
It's there.
So that's still playing out. And that's like a little big factor actually that's happening. And you mentioned something about like identity holding back, but then they want to be seen as Zulu. There's a superiority.
Yeah, there's a superiority issue there.
So when you say there's a superiority thing, what's the inferiority look like?
Inferiority in South Africa is you being a foreigner.
What does that look like on a daily life basis?
Being a foreigner, man, it's like you are the last option. You understand what I'm saying? It's like you are the last option. That's why most of the people, they try to change their identity to be South Africans.
What is last option in what?
Last option in so many things, man. For example, employment. There are some of the companies now that don't accept foreigners because of their permits issues. So if ever I possess South African ID, I'm good. I've got access to go get loan to start businesses. I have access to look for a job in any company that I want. I have access to get the privileges which South African people have. You understand what I'm saying? So being a South African is really a big thing for other foreigners.
So these are the advantages, like you say, of being South African. So the inferiority comes in that way. But do you find yourself on a daily basis, like, do you have to carry around your passport?
I do. Even now it's in my car.
What?
I have to carry it because I think 2 days ago we were stopped by police. And then those police they were like, want to search your car. Here in Sunside. Want to search your car, and then they search my car. They find nothing. Your passport, check my days and everything. They found that I'm up to date. I was like, okay, cool, go.
What made them ask for your passport?
It was just like more of a stop and search thing.
No, but how do you know you're foreign?
They would say passport or ID. And then that's when you pop up your passport.
Yeah.
So after you pop up your passport, they check are your days valid. And then if your days are valid, then they're like, okay, cool, go. So for me, that was the issue. So if I didn't have my passport, you can imagine I was going to be locked up, call somebody, please go grab my passport somewhere. So I always walk with my ID.
Oh, always?
My passport. Always. It's always in my car.
Have you had any bad experiences?
Not really. It's just those times where You meet them and then they say passport and then you just have to produce it.
Yeah.
You study your own cause unnecessary drama.
Bro, I couldn't imagine walking around with my passport.
You have to here. Yeah, you have to.
What happens if you lose it?
Then you just have to go and apply. You just have to go and some people, they don't have passports and they are living, but it's a matter whereby you have to take out money all the time when you're caught. You take out money. You're bribing your way out all the way. So you find the money that you're giving these people, it's actually more than enough for you to go and apply a passport.
Is that a common thing, like the bribery thing when you don't have a passport?
Yeah, bribery is fashionable, brother. Bribery is fashionable. Like, you just have to know that if you don't have a passport, you just have to have money. Yeah, because they'll definitely ask you also, what are we going to do with you? Yeah. And that's when I'm like, can you please forgive me? Because I'm still looking for money to go get a passport. But for now, can you please have a cold drink?
What do we do?
And then they're like, no problem, man. You have to go and get a passport. Then next time when I catch you, but you're gone.
So that's the reality.
Yeah, that's the reality.
That's what's happening. Right?
Yep.
Jeez, man, that's hectic.
That's the reality.
I've been asked me to ask you something. I'm a tattoo.
I'm a tattoo.
Yeah.
That one, man, I think it's coming from this other video that I made when my ex-girlfriend was pregnant. So like, it was just content, you know. So I think like I just made a statement that would say we came from the doctor from the scan and then it find out they're triplets. So the video was like me celebrating that we are having triplets. So one of the comments was, Amashona Amatatu, congratulations. So people catch feelings on that. It's like, why are you saying it like that and stuff? And for me, I was like, because I told you that I'm positive. You understand? I don't find any offense until I look at it and be like, but this person doesn't mean it bad way. Yeah. So for me, I was telling people, but Amashona Amatatu, congratulations. It's not a bad thing. I think I made a video about it actually. But it's not a bad thing. Stop hating. You understand? Because finally, my woman had my ex-woman had babies with a vendor man. Because of a vendor amatatu. Congratulations. So why are you catching feelings when they say Amashona amatatu? Amashona vele. Yeah. You get my point? Amashona. Like, it is what it is. Yeah. So that was the whole
amatatu thing.
Amatatu is 3.
Yeah. Did it become a big deal?
It did. Like, a lot of people did attack that lady in the comment section. Yeah, I think that's one of the most trending comments of that video.
Which people? The Zimbabweans? Or?
Yeah, the Zimbabweans, they found it offensive. And I was like, it's not offensive. This is like how you say it. You don't have to pamper it. You don't have to, this is how you say it.
Jesus, man. That's hectic.
Yeah. So I was like, guys, come on, man.
So you got kids?
I have kid.
You have the kid?
Yeah.
What's that like? Being a foreigner, having to raise a child in a foreign country.
It's nice, man. It's nice, but at some point, I'm afraid.
What?
At some point, I'm afraid, because I'm not just a father. I'm a responsible one. I'm that kind of person who want to know what's it. Did my baby eat?
Yeah.
Does my baby have food? Are there still nappies for my baby? I don't wait for the mother to tell me. I ask. Yeah. You understand? So that I know what my baby is always secure.
Oh, so you guys are not living together?
No, not anymore. Okay. Not anymore. We're separated. But we're still there though for the baby. Like we have a good relationship for the sake of the baby. Yeah. So I'm that kind of a guy who is so responsible when it comes to my baby. So my biggest fear is, what if one of the days this whole foreigners Abahambe thing, like it materialized and then it happens because I find myself in a country where I'm not able to make enough ends meet to give my baby a good living, you understand? So that's my biggest fear actually. What if one of the days I'll find myself in a position where I'm not even able to buy my baby a sweet?
So with that fear in mind, how did you feel when you saw Gayton McKenzie PA shouting Abahambe? I mean, the guy was saying, give me Home Affairs, I'll clean up.
Yeah, I mean, like,
how did you feel?
Some of the things, like, you just have to live with them and see where does it go? You understand? Because as for me, like, I wasn't that much afraid because my documents are in order, right? My documents are in order. The only thing that most of the Zimbabweans doesn't have is the permits because they are not issued yet. You understand? So a Zimbabwean who would say he possesses a permit definitely is lying because the permits are not issued yet for the Zimbabweans, right? They were just extended and extended and extended. You understand? But the new permits are not issued yet. So as long as you've got like your passport and you are supposed to be here, so I wasn't like having that much fear.
Weren't you worried, pissed off?
No, not really, because my documents are in order. You know, I was like, if they don't have papers. Because one thing about South African politics and these movements, which are saying foreigners should go, they are not chasing away all foreigners. They are saying those who are here illegally, because when they commit crimes, we can't track them. Those that should go, and the ones with papers should stay. And that's valid.
Yeah. But you know, I'm still thinking of that superiority thing you were talking about. That in that instance, does it matter if you're Ndebele or Shona?
It does. It does. It does. It does matter. The thing of superiority does matter. It does matter. Same applies in South Africa. When we talk about Zulu people, it's not always when you can hear a Zulu person speaking another language. You, maybe as a vendor person, are the one who is going to speak his language that he can speak with you. That's dominance.
Are you getting that with like Ndebele?
That's dominance.
A little bit of stubbornness.
Most of the Ndebele people, they know how to speak Shona, but they don't want to. They want you to speak Ndebele. You understand? Because I feel like whenever we have to engage in a conversation in Shona, he feel like he's too slow. Like, why should I use your language instead of mine? You understand?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's the thing about Zulu people, because Zulu people, their language, it's more like it's dominating in South Africa, because you would find other tribes, they know how to speak Zulu, but Zulu people only know how to speak Zulu.
You know what's interesting for me? You talk about tribes, man. I don't come across people who talk about tribes quite often. Do you talk about tribes? I don't come across people who talk about tribes, man. And I'm wondering, like, how does it factor? How does it become a thing for you in your head? Like, something must have happened. There's a reality, right? Somewhere that's informing that.
You only understand about tribes if you're foreign. Because when I speak Shona, people be like, I'm Shona. You know what I'm saying? So, same applies because me, I like, most of my circles are dominated with Zulu people.
Okay.
You understand? So I know with most of the Zulu people, they don't want to talk your language.
Yes.
They don't want to learn your language. Zulu ngakhona ukuthi ukhulume naye ngesingisi. In English, he will reply you in Zulu.
Yeah. But he's saying this is paying 5, right?
You get my point? That's how Zulu people are. So I think it's a matter of that's the thing again with between Amashona and Ndebele.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a matter of dominance in terms of like we would say, if me nanga kulma na wesi Ndebele show look like I'm stooping solo, why can't we talk in my language, not in your language? Of which is not a thing.
I want to ask you this before that. What are your hopes for your home country? What do you hope happens in the next 5-10 years?
You know, number one that I would hope with Zimbabwe would be is for them to establish industries. That's number one.
Didn't you guys have a tobacco industry?
We do. But I believe now it's flooded with people who are working there. So we can't really all eat from tobacco. And remember, there are people who study for different things that don't even like blend with tobacco.
Yeah.
So if Zimbabwe can actually establish industries that can accommodate everything which they teach in universities, we wouldn't have been here. You know, I'm one person who would say if ever, let's say the economy of Zimbabwe was good, I wouldn't have been in South Africa. There was even a time that I got a job offer in Zimbabwe. I'm talking about last month. I traveled to go back home for an interview, but I found the living conditions on that mine and everything, like it wasn't okay with me.
It was a job at a mine.
Yeah, it was a job at a mine.
What were the living conditions like? What put you off?
The mine was in a isolated place. Transport was an issue. The accommodation was an issue. In the it was an issue. It was so far from the shops that you could travel about 45 minutes driving. And since I say transport was an issue, you understand what I'm saying? So I felt like, I really can't stay in a place like this. You understand? And another thing that I was thinking was the money that I had to which I'm gonna get. It wasn't the money that I went there and had to go to corner. Because remember, I'm leaving a kid here. So I wanted a little bit of money that I know with, even if I'm working in Zimbabwe, I'll be able to take care of my baby here.
So you gotta think about
exactly. So I had to think about all those especially my baby was a priority there. Because at some point I thought I wanted my baby to visit me where I am working. So I pictured at this place would my baby come and say, no, it can't. So those are the things that I put in consideration, and then I just need to come back.
If the job offer had met those conditions, would you have?
I would have been in Zimbabwe by now.
Really?
Even now, if I can get a good job in Zimbabwe, trust, I'll go.
Yeah,
I'll go because it feels good to work in a country where there's a lot of criticism in regards to where you come from or whatever. You understand? You are home. You understand? Because
I don't know, man. I mean, I think about living here. Let's say you live in Sosha now.
Yeah.
Right? When you're here, how do you feel safe?
Yeah, Sosha for me is like my home because I've been here for 10 years. I've never moved in any other place except here. Yeah.
See, I'm South African and I don't feel safe in Sosha.
Yeah, it's because of familiarity. Because for me, if I go out, everybody like Romeo. So it's hard for people to actually mug you if they know you.
No, I mean, even people who know me, in general, I'm like,
you understand?
I don't feel safe in Sosha. Like, I feel safer in a place like Atteridgeville.
I'm safe here.
Yeah.
I'm safe here. Like, I can even travel at night. I'm 11, 12 around Sosha.
It's like familiar.
It's a thing for me.
Community.
Yeah, it's a thing for me. I can even leave my gate open, come back to maybe Chillers Club or whatever. Get in, relax.
Now you're lying.
I'm telling you.
Leave your gate open here. Late at night.
Yeah, because like the thing is, I don't want to with my figure give a business for the gate. So I love to leave my gate open so that when I come, I just like get in and then close after.
So would you say your standard of living right now is comfortable?
Compared to my history, compared to my past.
Yeah.
I'm getting there. Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm actually, I can't say I'm comfortable. Yeah, I'm comfortable. I am. Compared to my past, I'm comfortable.
And you're aiming to keep.
And I'm aiming higher. Yeah. Maybe the next interview will be in Central.
I hate Santon. Don't bring me there, bro.
Maybe we're in Central. Levels. You know what I'm saying? Levels. Because there's a point where a person was renting a small one room for 600 rand. Do you understand? So if you get to a position whereby you can come this side, the Yama Bond house, and you're renting a 2-bedroom house, I mean...
that's that progress they don't show on social media.
You get my point? And another thing is, when a person came to South Africa, we didn't even have any hope of traveling with a car one of the good days. So even if I have an Uno or a Taz or whatever, for me, it's success. You understand what I'm saying? Some of the people be like, he's just traveling with an Uno. But for me, like that Uno is everything. Why? Because there was a time that I didn't have it. You get my point?
Man, thank you so much for making time, bro.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And sadly, we couldn't have Ivan. He's down sick and dying.
Yeah.
But yeah, and thanks for welcoming to your home.
Thank you so much. And I didn't even offer you some water or anything. I mean,
dude,
we're too busy.
I'm high on coffee right now, so I'd rather not touch anything. All right.
Yeah,
but thank you, man.
You're welcome. And I think you guys should consider supporting this brand.
Let's see what's that. Whose brand is that?
So recently, a brother approached me and said, "Would you want me to be a brand ambassador?" A brand ambassador.
Wilforce.
Yes, a brand ambassador for a brand that is called Wilforce. It's a clothing brand. As you see, they've got a walk-in shop at Tembisa Mall. They're actually doing great. You understand? So they actually say, bro, we love what you're doing on TikTok. So can you be the brand ambassador? So you guys should consider buying Wilforce branding cloth.